Welcome, everyone. I'm Joanne Geer. I'm Executive Director for the Westchester Biotech Project. And welcome to our Thanksgiving Breakfast and Kinsugi Award. We're going to talk about what Kintsugi means in a moment. I just love this picture. I love this little guy. We don't know, is he going to break the world? Is he loving the world? Is he giving the world? Did he just receive the world? And I think it's very much represents the moment that we're living in now. So welcome, everybody.
Thank you. So good morning, everybody. And you know, I'm excited today to sort of catch our breath and reflect on where we've been and where we're going. And I will quote a line I love of a favorite 90s song, which is, I want you all to sit back, relax, strap on your seatbelts, and join us on this little bit of a journey. And if I'm sounding overly reflective, it's because I am. And I want to acknowledge all of our friends and partners on the call today, and those of you who may be watching this at another time. This is an important time of the year, and I will tell a little bit of a story, sort of what has brought us to highlight this time of year and use this as a jumping off point for why we're doing these things. But first, obviously, those of you who know us know that the Westchester Biotech Project, despite our name, is a global community. We are driven by our mission of bringing together researchers, data scientists, and engineers, and all of those people who love them for the purpose of collaboration. I think the word collaboration is often misused and sounds good. And I think that we've all been in situations where when you open up the hood and look at what the intents and motivation of collaboration are, I don't know if there's enough instances where it is true joint problem solving. And that is what we try to accomplish here. As I've said all along, one day we're going to find out that this individual met another individual at one of our events. They put their heads together, they solved a problem. The dream is they cured a disease or they saved a life. And that is what drives us here. I think it's what separates our organization from many of the other organizations out there, all of whom are doing good work. But we've really tried to create what I refer to as a safe space for people to share their ideas openly, without judgment, without criticism, but more importantly, for the purpose of hopefully igniting someone else's ideas to build off of theirs. And I think that all of you know how close we are. Well, we've created that environment, but I think we're closer than ever to really being able to highlight and point to some specific instances that are coming. And over the next year, a little bit more today, you'll hear about some of our visions and plans for the future. And I think that everyone who shares in sort of those ideals is always welcome on the bus. And as I said, strapping on your seatbelt and joining us for the ride. As always necessary sort of tip of our hat to our partners. And again, what we built here is not about Michael Welling. It is not about Joanne Geer. It is truly about our community. This slide here represents certainly some of the partners that we have engaged with from, again, across the globe. Many represented here today, many not, representing contributions from thought leadership to true leadership to partnership and support. What we do is not possible without these people. And while we all hear that at every breakfast and event that we go to, this would not be possible without our partners and our sponsors. I take it one step further, and we are doing this for our partners and our sponsors. So without all of your input and contributions and feedback, I don't want to say there's no reason, but our goal and our mission is differed from where we are. So again, I highlight these names and always say If there's a name on here that you would like to be introduced to, if there's a name on here for which you might have an idea to help further their needs or your own, please reach out to Joanne or myself. We will always make that introduction. And of course, if you want to talk about having your name up on this slide, please reach out, and we're always looking for ways to get people involved. And, you know, as Joanne says, we have no shortage of people who want to jump in, pitch in, and help, but you can never have enough of those people. So please don't hesitate to reach out. So today, for those of you who've heard me talk about how I got thrust into this world before, I apologize for you to hear it again. But I will highlight my coffee mug here. Let's see if you can see this. This is my son's logo. He is a little redheaded monster. I say little, but yesterday was his 16th birthday, which is a big deal because on his first birthday, Matthew was admitted to Sloan Kettering after 6 months of blood work and tests, Yale New Haven Children's Hospital, for what we thought was a pre-leukemic condition, and turned out to be not that, but an even more rare genetic disorder, which won't go into all the details today, but the only course of treatment and action was a bone marrow transplant. So Matthew was admitted to Sloan Kettering on his first birthday. Within the week, they initiated their round of chemo. And then on November 29th, he had his first transplant. And I do say first, because somewhere around December 20th, he lost the graft. The transplant failed. His first donor was not able to donate again. And we had to, while sitting on the 9th floor of Sloan Kettering with our first only newborn child without an immune system, in lockdown, in isolation, do another search for a bone marrow donor, which amazingly, and I will tip a hat to both science and divine intervention, because I don't leave anything to chance. We did find another donor, and on January 27th, 2007, he had his second transplant. And then ultimately, 143 days later, after he was admitted to the hospital, we were discharged. I talk about this as a happy ending story. He turned 16 yesterday. He is on no medication other than his, gummy vitamins. He is a sophomore in high school. The only carryover from all of that, aside from the mental anguish my wife and I have suffered and self-medicate with bourbon and other whiskeys, is Matthew was left with permanent damage to his optic nerve. So while we are free and clear of the life-threatening concerns we had, while there is no concern of there any relapse, we do live day to day with a child who is legally blind, has no vision in his left eye and reduced vision in his right eye, and as sighted parents trying to help him navigate a visual world. And of course, the impact of what happens when a child goes through puberty after they've had high rounds of chemo and all this other treatment. I wouldn't trade my situation for the world, because we could not be more proud or happy or appreciative or thankful for having Matthew with us here today. And so I will dial back just on the timeline. So Thanksgiving was always my favorite day of the year, my favorite meal, favorite day of football, favorite day of family. It is absent all of the material focus of gifts and presents and it is truly about the food and football and friends and family, and it just was always my favorite day. However, arguably top 5 worst days of my life was sitting in Sloan Kettering on Thanksgiving Day in 2006, just a few weeks into Matthew's treatment, and realized in that moment how appreciative I would be of the opportunity for more days in the future to be thankful and enjoy that day. So we sort of adopted Thanksgiving, I say, as our official family holiday. My family, we used to do Thanksgiving cards after Matthew got out. We never did that. Hey, here's a picture of my kids, stick it up on your refrigerator. And I don't mean to, insult anyone who does that, but to us, it was less about highlighting ourselves and more about expressing our appreciation to those people in our lives. And that's where Thanksgiving really became a significant time in our family's life beyond just it is a wonderful holiday. So you'll excuse my reflective nature at the moment, but with Matthew's birthday, kicking off these seasons and reliving the highs and lows, it truly is an important, valuable time to my family personally. Professionally, I will tell you that this is also a time where I express my thanks and appreciation to all of the partners in my life. I know many of you may find this hard to believe, but I do have a day job beyond this. And even in that world, I take very seriously the relationships that I have and the work that I do with people. And please consider this to all of you on the call, my heartfelt thank you to you for being part of our little machine here and your contributions. Listen, for all of us, the last 18 months, give or take, have been a crazy, to say the least, uncertain, sort of highs and lows, the craziness of the information. It's just how we've all survived is truly amazing. And I do believe that despite the distance that has been put between us all over the last 18 months, some might argue it also brought us closer in different ways, in other ways, whether it was, finding a way to build relationships beyond, Richard talked about hanging around the big the convention halls. There's a lot of handshaking and backslapping and sort of surface level relationships that exist, and those are important. But I think over the last 18 months, we've been forced to also dig deeper and find those people that we want to interact with and we want to partner with. And as we thought about how to honor what we've been through and where we're going and the work that you've all contributed to our little machine here, I was introduced to the concept of Kintsugi. And it was presented to me in a fascinating way, so elaborately and eloquently. I will never be able to duplicate that. But for those of you who don't know, so up on the screen is a quick little definition. So Kintsugi is an ancient Japanese art whereby thousands of years ago, when servingware, tea sets, bowls, and dishes would break, they wouldn't throw them away. Just because they were broken, they were not garbage. Their view and the belief was they have just evolved into their next state of being. And rather than just a little bit of glue and stick them together, they would actually use gold and silver and other valuable metals and decorative ornaments to bring the bowl back together, to celebrate and to highlight not that it's broken, but its new existence, and how those cracks and those breaks are now more beautiful part of the dish or the bowl than when it was just its whole entity. And truthfully, if you do some Googling about this, some of these bowls that have gone through this Kintsugi process are more valuable after they've been kintsugi'd, if that's a word, than they were before. And when I shared this idea with Joanne and Denise, and we sort of talked about it, we said, I think this is very emblematic of us and our community. We are all a little broken, and whether it's a small amount or a large amount, whether it's due to a direct personal loss or brokenness, or indirect or family member, just watching the news, you feel broken today. And so we really wanted to kind of put a bow on this year, looking ahead to the next year by saying, hey, we may be broken, but we think we are better, and we think we are stronger, and we're going to embrace what we've learned. We're going to embrace the opportunities that have been created. Not to say we're not going back to some of our old ways, but I think we all recognize what we've learned is the old way wasn't the only way. The most recent way isn't the only way, but there is some new opportunity ahead to combine both virtual, both in person, both the way we work, who we work with. And today we're going to honor a handful of people who have been uniquely critical to our success. And we're calling them the Kintsugi Awards, which is, we may be broken, but we're not done. And we've got lots of exciting stuff to announce in the near future. For those of you who are already contributing, please don't think that we're done asking for more contributions. For those of you who may have contributed in the past, there's going to be opportunities for more contributions in the future. And for those of you who still may be on the sidelines or just trying to dip your toe in the water, be prepared to be yanked into the pool, because everyone's going to jump in, and we've got a lot of exciting things. So let me just sort of conclude with, and I don't think it can be said enough, a truly heartfelt thank you to all of you. A wish for nothing but a happy and healthy, thankful holiday season for you all. And nothing would be complete if I didn't also just acknowledge the incredible effort and work and leadership by my partner, Joanne. While I probably don't say it enough, I cannot, none of this is possible without you. And your stewardship and your leadership to get us to this point is truly, it warrants being recognized even more so than a Kinsugi Award. So we may have to come up with another idea to honor you there. And I think anyone who passes on the opportunity to engage with you and work with you and include you in their own initiatives is making a humongous mistake. And I will say that to anyone's face that I have the opportunity. So with that, let me conclude again, my second conclusion, but the last one. Thank you all. Happy and healthy holidays. Let's kick off the Kintsugi Awards. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. So you'll forgive a waspy goy to say I'm kvelling, and I'm kvelling at the whole moment. And thank you for your kind words, Michael. And you know, some of you know that I was minding my own business around 2015, and I was running the Biopharma Research Council, and we were doing things like, I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. We were doing things like CRISPR conferences from Boston to North Carolina and so on. And I got a call from Michael Welling, who said, you know, here's a happy ending story. And he told me about his son. And he said, well, I'm going to call you again in a couple of weeks. And I thought, yeah, right. And Michael kept in touch, and we talked to each other for like a year and a half before we even met in person, and launched in the spring of 2017. And what I so appreciate is that from the beginning, you know, there are many wonderful organizations that do very important work in building the biotech community. Many of them are very focused on the interests of investors, which is great. And that's really important. What we chose to do was really focus on researchers, data scientists, and engineers, who are the people who actually do the work, and in nurturing career development and other ideas in this community. So what I'm going to share with you now is a bit about where we're at and where we're headed. So as you know, we've done lots of gatherings. We've done like 120 gatherings since we started. And some of those are 15 people at a conference table. Some of them are symposia. And we've been listening through that whole time. And the two big areas of work where we feel that we can make a contribution is on the whole side of helping scientists have careers and build careers. And on the other side, to look at some facilities work that really needs to be done in our region. So the sort of overall thrust is we're calling Blueprint 2030, which is very cheeky for us to be promoting our little organization. But when we announced this in 2019, there wasn't anybody else around that was actually thinking about the long-term regional development of the biotech community in this way. And so what we're boiling down to, and I'm sharing, these are some of these programs have been ongoing, some of them are new. And many of the people responsible for our progress are on this call today. So our career consortium is, as it, excuse me, as it sounds, is all about a focus on really the whole pipeline, K-12 and beyond, with some of areas where we're taking leadership, some areas where we're partnering with other organizations. One of our key partnerships is with Sister to Sister International, which is a 20-year-old organization in Westchester with a focus on getting girls, Black and brown girls, into STEM fields. And that's been really interesting. We've been involved on the science committee there, and we've been involved for about 1.5 years together. Well, I'll share with you some of our programs. So our Westchester certificate on essential skills in the lab. And we just had a meeting yesterday. We've been piloting the parts that we could do online this past year. There's a safety piece, there's a sustainability in the lab piece. And we will be, hopefully in May, we'll be able to do a 2-day program that will be on site at Westchester Community College that will include those 2 factors plus aseptic technique, lab notebook practice, and the third one that's escaping me. I had it in my head a minute ago, but it's
Drug
a 5
development pipeline.
Thank you, Carla. Another county heard from. Thanks. Would you like to say anything more about that right now, Carla?
No. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to make it accurate. That's all.
Thank you. That was very additive. I appreciate it. So anyway, that's pretty exciting. And that was a curriculum developed collaboratively with multiple colleges and companies. Our transitions toolkit, which is really being led by Rich Person, includes things like time management, understanding personality tests, and so on. You want to say a couple words about that, Richard?
Yes, actually, it all began at Iona College with the Dean of Arts and Sciences pulling me in as a chair of a group of people who would keep him informed of the current methodologies that were being used to teach in other schools. And we're doing a massive program on that right now. Now, this led to an overall approach where we took the transitional process from college to job and analyzed what's missing. What we found out was time management was a key element. Students were very, very poor at actually managing their time, and that led into the workplace. The second thing was personality, where they had a lot of things about their personality that were invisible to them. And when things are invisible, they can really impede the advancement process. So we began developing the whole concept of that at Iona. Bringing that forward into the work that's here, we've developed a personality and also a time management section to the transitions toolbox. And we're going to extend that forward to include career development, skills processing, and finally job identification. These all then will produce a certificate program that students can take to advance themselves.
Well, thank you, Richard, and we really appreciate your leadership in this area. It's Rich is an example of someone who, came into our world and kept moving forward, and we so appreciate your building and very proud to have your work on our platform. The next area that we're really excited about that's been developed is the clinical research cohort. And in a few minutes, I'm going to ask, I know both Daria and Ellen are here, they're the co-chairs. I'm going to ask you to hold off in a few minutes. I'm going to ask you to speak. But this is an area where the clinical research is a wonderful career add-on for a very smart person who's very detail-oriented, very people-oriented. It's a great enhancement for nurses, also for physicians. But one of the things that we like about this cohort is that it is already much more diverse than many other parts of the drug development continuum. And so we really are able to engage broadly across many different communities. And finally, on the Career Consortium, as we are launching in January, we had one in October and people liked the idea. So we're going to have a roundtable on tomorrow's life science workforce that will meet monthly. This is an evolution of our roundtable for educators and employers, and essentially invites academics and companies to come together to talk about how do we build internships, what are the critical skills that are going to be needed for tomorrow's life science workforce, and what are the opportunities as well, of course. The other major program is the Lab of the Future, which integrates our data analytics hub. And this is an area that has continuously emerged, and largely because there's a dearth of lab space in many places, and particularly in Westchester. And the colleges feel it, young companies feel it. So we believe that there is a real opportunity for building what we call expansion space for young companies that are coming out of the incubators, and they need the space they're going to live in for the next several years, not necessarily 10 years, but maybe 3 or 4 years, while they have some funding, while they are building their data, while they are learning about their commercialization and so on. And and that there were actually projects in the works before COVID hit. And so we're reviving that process. And really during the spring, we'll be doing a series of charrettes. Say, okay, lots of different folks said they would like to see something like this happen. What does that mean? What kind of space are you looking for? You know, how many students would you like to accommodate? And what would it take? So we have building companies that are involved, designers that are involved. And we aren't necessarily going to be the ones to build the labs, but we believe we can bring the people together to figure out what that means and how to make it happen. You saw from our partnership page that we do have friends in a lot of interesting places that can inform this process. And the Consortium on Translational Research in the Microbiome is something that's been ongoing for a while, and that will be under this umbrella. And the idea is that the Lab of the Future will definitely include both wet labs and data, deep data work. And I like to say you can't talk to any scientist for more than 10 minutes before they start bitching about the quality of data that they have to work with. And so a key part of this will actually be training on how to work with data scientists, and something we're going to call a data laundry, which will be about cleaning up data so that it can actually be analyzed. That's all. There's always more, but of all the many things that we've seeded, these couple of different areas of focus really make the most sense to us, and that will allow us to clarify our goals and to seek deeper funding and expansion for ourselves and for the community. I'm going to turn to our awards now, and there are several of you who are going to receive them, and I think you received just a little warning to give some thoughts. When we announce you, we'd like you to take the microphone for a moment and to talk about your own personal Kinsugi. How are you putting things together in this crazy time? Some of you know I bought a house. So I'm not at the place where are stored these lovely little globes. So in the next couple of weeks, you will receive one of these globes, which is your acknowledgement of this award. Our first award goes to Richard Theron. And so Richard has been involved with the growth of the Consortium on Translational Research in the Microbiome. He's been very active in helping to communicate on our behalf, to recruit people to our programs. And Richard, we want to acknowledge, how is your own personal Kinsugi going?
It's wonderful. I'm felling with pride, Joanne. Thank you very much, for, this recognition. But it wouldn't be possible without the team, that I have, everyone here and those that couldn't join us this morning. Cernios is very much, into bonding, and working in collaboration, in a global space. Cernios means to see and to solve. The banner behind us reflects that how we work is by forming bonds, and I've enjoyed this last 18 months working with the Westchester Biotech project and bringing scientific resources to bear from all over the globe. Cernios is no longer just me, and I wouldn't be able to do this without one of my colleagues, Dr. Adela Bonoyu of Catena Biologics. Unfortunately, isn't here this morning, but together, we put together a good amount of scientists, interested people, and have gotten quite, a lot of recognition of the Westchester Biotech project, CTRM. We're always willing to help, connect people, and further the cause of research in microbiome, in translational science, and in biomedicine. So Joanne, it's been a pleasure. We look forward to continuing the relationship. Cernios has added other services, including some STEM networking and working with your STEM program. Cernios on its own initiative is also working with non-traditional students, people that get overlooked, that should include veterans, seniors, careerists, people formerly known as empty nesters, or people that are corporate refugees and want to start businesses based on their life experience. This is our own initiative. We are working with a lot of colleges and universities, and have started working on translational research with NASA, which is a program housed at Baylor College of Medicine. We can't all go up to the International Space Station, but we can make a difference. And yes, actually NASA does study the microbiome in astronauts, and changes that are returning from the International Space Station. More about that later, but Joanne, it's been a pleasure, working with this group. We've obtained several new clients. We've expanded our readership in social media because of our collaboration with you, and we look forward to continuing that, in the new year, and beyond. Thank you so much, Joanne, and for the Westchester Biotech Project.
Well, thank you, Richard, and we greatly appreciate your involvement and how it grows. It's great. So our next award goes to Nini Fan. And Nini came to us, hi Nini. Nini came to us through the Consortium on Translational Research in the Microbiome, and has stumbled in, fumbled in, and now she can't get out. If you remember that from Babes at Toyland. And she has agreed to co-chair our conference this spring, which will happen on March 22nd. This is our Innovation in Research. This is our 5th version. So we're very proud that we've been able to do this every year. Nini, I'm going to ask you to talk about yourself and how is your personal Kinsugi going? Congratulations.
Thank you, Joanne. Hi, everyone. I really appreciate this award and being invited to this meeting this morning. I guess just a brief cap that how, so I'm Nini. So I'm the founder and CEO of Mamong. Mamong is a microbiome-based company that's focusing on women's health. And primarily now we're focusing on the pregnant sectors. The company really started to take it off, I think, right before the COVID happened. So we were kind of like a COVID begin company in the beginning. So there were a lot of, of course, in the investment area, in the product development, a lot of stuff was being really disrupted in the field. Then a lot of people believe that, post-COVID, there's gonna be like a lot of needs in the financial area as well. And then, but I think this as a more like a entrepreneur, not entrepreneur, adventure side of the view, it is a really big challenge. Like it never happened before. Like COVID is the first time, right? But I feel like this is definitely gave us opportunity as a startup at this moment that we can recognize what is actually important for our lives and what isn't, and what is really necessary step to be doing. And then at this time, I feel like there's a lot of noise that's been eliminated because we don't really have to travel, meet people sometimes, you know, for these high level for like just hi and goodbye. It gives us more time to be manageable for things, and recognizing, I think recognizing small progress and the steps along the way that really helps in order to give the team, the people who's around you, a motivation to keep going. So that's what I have learned the past a year and a half, definitely. And at Mamon, we're progressively growing right now. Right now, we're actively talking to CLIA labs, and hopefully we can run the next batch of our clinical research with a CLIA partnered lab, which is, we realize there is a lot of regulations and then different documents going forward. I'll save that later as well. Yeah, it's been really great. And then we also formed like internship program, primarily looking for students who's in data science. They can help our team to moving forward in a, I guess, better direction. So that's a brief, I guess, heart spoken for the COVID, and then being in the entrepreneur industry the first time in this period of time is definitely, you know, both ways. And then I always look for the brighter side. And then as you know, I'm very fortunate to also joining this group. I met Joanne along the last couple of months. We've been having this like weekly meeting. I really embrace it, and then it's great. It's always my first call on Monday morning. And then me and Joanne were joking around saying that, you know, we definitely don't want to see someone that we don't want to see Monday morning for the meetings like that. However, yeah, I'll give back to to Joanne. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Nini. Yeah, we've been, it was a good point of sanity for the last few months. And I'm very excited that Nini and Andrea Ruggiero from Open Door Clinics are the co-chairs for this conference in the spring, which is going to be a focus on breakthroughs in maternal health. So we have a number of really wonderful partners that are coming together for that program. So thank you, dear. Our next award, and you each get one, you don't have to share it, but we're awarding our Kintsugi Award for helping us get it together to the co-chairs of our clinical research cohort. So that's Daria Crean, I saw your face a minute ago, and Ellen Padenko.
So thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Westchester. So as far as the award is concerned, you know, I think Westchester, for me, I met you guys before COVID, but there was an intense part there during COVID that, you know, I consider Westchester kind of my real strong support lifeline. Everybody was going through exactly the same thing, and we realized that we're all the same, exactly the same. We're all vulnerable. We're all, nobody was removed from the virus or could not get the virus. It didn't matter your ethnicity. It didn't matter your age. It didn't matter your financial status. And I think that was, you know, heart-setting for everyone. And Westchester we did these different webinars, and we were able to share what internally really meant to each other. We're in life science industry. And I think for me personally, I realized that there was more out there that I could become part of. Just as far as, I think Richard said it, and both Richards actually, how, you know, grabbing your experiences when you're older and being able to share them and expand on your, you know, basically really paying it forward in a way to the younger folks. And with clinical research and being part of this consortium, I think might be able to do that, and involving the youngsters and who are interested in life sciences, and also the older population. Many nurses that I spoke with when I helped out giving the vaccines asked me how I even got into research. So really increasing the awareness of just different career pathways that are out there in research and life sciences, and being able to guide them and educate and train them on different pathways that they can take in advancements in the career. And I've met all of you are in a way family to me. And even though this is a little disruptive in my schedule today, I wasn't going to miss it for the world. So thank you, everyone. Thanks, Joanne and Michael. It's really been a great journey.
Well, thank you, Daria, and we will go to the sunrise together very soon. So, Ellen Padenko, I see you're there. Can you put on your camera and say a few words?
Hi, I'm kind of a little stunned, you know, I didn't expect this. I apologize. I'm not going to put my camera on because I'm a little under the weather with the cold.
We wanted it to be a surprise.
Well, I'm surprised you did. And my first thank you, I actually have to say, even before I get to the Westchester Biotech, I want to say thank you to Daria for keeping in touch and introducing me to Westchester Biotech. Daria and I met years and years ago on a very challenging project where Daria was a clinical trial educator and I was a coordinator at the site before I started floating through the clinical research universe, you know. And we've kept in touch, and never did I imagine, you know, that Westchester Biotech would be such a fantastic, wonderful, and honestly, it feels like a universe, pretty much like endless and limitless, you know, enterprise. And I'm very, very honored and privileged to be part of it. And just what Daria said, to bring new, fresh faces to clinical research, always spreading the word. And what I love about this idea of Westchester Biotech of bringing people together from different silos, different areas, is that there's always, always, always a point of contact. There's always something in common. And from that new, perhaps sometimes unexpected, but sometimes, and very useful, you know, to our society and just in general, you know, things would grow. So I'm with my new job, you know, that hopefully will start in at the end of November. I will be working California time with some free hours in the morning, and I'm very psyched that I can focus a lot of my energy on Westchester Biotech projects, and I feel like I'm still swimming, you know, with the shards of broken bowls and, you know, some gold around, but it's coming together. So thank you so much. It's been an honor to meet all of you, and you know, to work with Nini, with Richard, and it's amazing. Thank you so much. And yes, I am very surprised. Thank you so much.
Oh dear. Well, thank you, Ellen. Hope you feel better. And yes, I so appreciate Daria for bringing you to the party. And I'm gonna just, yeah. So the next awards are going to our growing staff. And I have to say a few words about how this is even possible. You may have noticed on our partner page that the biggest name is Montero Language Services. Montero is actually based in Madrid and is very focused on elite translation and localization, or a translation of elite documents like clinical research documents, like regulatory documents, the kinds of things where if you get it wrong, you can lose a lot of money, you can hurt people, and so on and so forth. So we've been involved with them for over a year now, and they just this summer took a gold partnership for 2 years, which is consistent income for us, which means we can actually hire some staff. So I'm going to acknowledge Matt, who is not up yet. So we'll tease him about that later, who is, yes, in the same family as Ellen's son, who because he's not here, I won't embarrass him. I will only embarrass him later when he watches this to say that he really has been pivotal in helping us in the last, over a year that he's been working with us. He does the website, he does all the emails, he does all the social media, he does all the video. When in doubt, it's Matt's job. So I really want to give a big up to you, Matt, and we'll talk about this later. And I told him he didn't have to be here, so it's okay, but I was thinking he might try. Denise Albitz came to us in 2019, 2020, as we were preparing for the JP Morgan Business Breakfast, which was the last physical event we held. That was on February 27th, 2020. We had about 150 people. I'm sure I hugged about 100 of them because we knew everybody. And luckily I did not hear about anybody getting sick from that process. Denise was very instrumental in the lead up, and then has joined us as our research associate. And I'm gonna ask you to speak. I know I didn't warn you at all, did I, Denise?
I'm surprised.
Good. Tell us about your personal Kintsugi, Denise.
Oh, well, first off, thank you, Joanne. And thank you, Michael, and everybody on here for, this wonderful experience of working with all of you. I really think it's a very worthy cause, and I'm very, very honored and happy to be helping with this. I would say probably I was thinking about this, my own personal Kintsugi. I think a lot of you know I worked at Merck for over 2 decades and was unexpectedly laid off, having thought I would finish my career there, and took a venture into running my own business for 5 years. And unfortunately, at the end of the day, I had to shut it down. It just failed. So that was really the first time in my life that something in my career had failed. So that was about 2 years ago. And I sort of sat here, trying to figure out what I was going to do. And then many of you probably know Delphine Banerjee. She's also a partner with 360 Pharma Solutions. She reached out to me through LinkedIn and said, hey, I have some projects. And one of those was working with Joanne and Michael on the JP Morgan program, and also working with Orist. I worked on his website, but I sort of feel like I was that broken bowl. I really did feel broken, and you have helped me to put the gold back into the cracks, and hopefully I'm emerging better. After two and a half years after that whole mess ended, I'm starting to feel really good, and this is definitely helping. So it's been a very mutual win-win situation, I hope. And Joanne, thank you for allowing me to inflict my agendas and timelines on you. But thank you. I appreciate it. I love working with all of you.
Well, thank you. Go ahead.
I just want to add something that early on in our days, Joanne would refer to our efforts as building the plane while flying it. I would jokingly say that Joanne was the pilot when she wasn't also taping the wing and sealing up broken fuel lines. I was in the back passing out drinks and celebrating. And We are so lucky to have Denise as our co-pilot to all of this and really keeping us focused, keeping us on our agenda. And you will all, if you haven't already, the next phase of the Westchester Biotech project's existence is going to be achievable in a large part due to Denise's contribution. So a huge thank you, Denise, to having you here. I think you're a beautiful broken bowl. So thank you.
I appreciate that.